Hello, Affair. Good morning. It's early, yes, and I am Queen Mother Imakhu. It's my pleasure to be here with you for another episode of Menw, the Daily Khametic Word. This is a part of our Shenu Living philosophy, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying the series so far. I am getting ready to go to a family funeral, and so that's why I am coming to you so early. I'll be picked up very shortly. But I wanted to bring our message to you for today. We've been talking about the book of Prince Harjadef, the instructions of Prince Harjadef, and basically how to set your life up so that you're living in an orderly fashion, and so that you can restructure your life if need be. We've talked about cleansing. We've talked about aligning yourself in the correct way of making money and becoming prosperous. We've talked about correct partnering, and now today we'll be talking about why you're going to partner. And also we talked about founding your house, cleansing, prosperity, founding your house, finding a correct partner. Okay. And this is also establishing yourself in business too. This is working as a metaphor as well. So the next portion of it says, so take an intelligent, wise wife, partner. A son will be born to you. Okay, so this kind of almost makes it seem like, hey, for Harjadef advising his son in this instruction, you got to have kids. And his emphasizing a son, that's kind of a bit of the patriarchy thing that's kind of starting to creep in a little bit there. But, the idea of having a son being so valued, right? But the idea is you have a child, you have a family. So, it's not saying that in order to be happy in life, you have to have children. But, having children was considered a sign of prosperity back in the day, and actually even now. But you don't have to in order to have a happy life. I have plenty of relatives who never had children and had the most amazingly fantastic lives and were wealthy at that, and were happy, well respected. But then there are those of us who have children and see the absolute wealth in having children too. But now here's the thing. Now you're setting up the idea of having the prosperity, having the home, having the great partner, and then having a family. And then here's the next part. The next portion. Why did I take my glasses off? Because I thought I was done with the book. I'm not. The next portion of it, it is for your child. You build a house. It is for your child. You build a house. Good morning, Reverend Tamu. How are you this morning? You just waking up? I've been up for hours. I get up very early. Hope you got a good night's rest. That's the important thing. See, it's easy for me to say I get up early because of the fact that I go to bed early. I've learned my mind needs to have a lot of rest because it's always thinking. And so, Heruna Fair, good morning. Okay, so let me make sure that's the absolute last line. Yes, it's for your child, you will build your house. This is talking about generational wealth. Now, see, even though from the very beginning, it is being seeded into this child from this letter about getting your life together, being responsible for your own life. Still, what he is saying here is that you still have a responsibility to those who are coming up behind you. I touched on that a little bit yesterday. You have a responsibility. And so it's not as though you're going to just pull the rug out from underneath the child. You've taken good care of the child, and then you're just going to go and push him out of the nest. I'm not saying that's not right in certain situations. If you've got a child that's been absolutely spoiled beyond belief and has no idea about the real world, and then you realize they got to learn about the real world, you got to get out the nest, okay? But the idea that you've taken care of this child well, this child's had a very secure life, and you want them to go and find out about the world and then get themselves together. And yeah, okay, so that means that you're doing your part in making sure that they're set up right. And that also means that you're going to be leaving an inheritance behind for your children, you know, or for those who are coming up behind. My Aunt Elaine, who I was named after, did not have children, but my mother's generation and my cousins and I, we were her children. And she left some of us in an inheritance. Okay. I was so surprised to find out. I didn't know I was named in her will. Well, I'm her namesake, but I didn't know I was named in her will. You know, it came at a time that was such a blessing. I'm telling you, when I needed to get financially set back up and take care of a lot of bills and so forth. But the fact is that she was so mindful of so many of us. And this is how this is the example that's been set down before me, you know, with other relatives in the family, where they're thinking of the future generations and wanting for us to be okay. You know, when you die, you can't take everything with you, right? Even though in Kemet, the idea when they buried the royals, they buried the sheps, the shepseeth, you know, the important people, so-called important people. They buried them in their tomb with all their stuff in order to keep their spirits contained so that they wouldn't go wander around looking for their stuff. It's like, okay, you know, you wake up dead. Look, here's all your stuff. Get with it. That means you're no longer part of the earth plane, and it's time for you to move on to become an ancestor. But still, I'm sure the family I'm sure they were left a lot of things, or they took a lot of things in order to make sure that they were not left depleted, okay, with all of the wealth that was there. But still, the idea is you want better for the next generation, and you have to look beyond your children and see if they have children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. What is the legacy going to be? You want to have safety. You want to have security. Anuk Ardi is something that we say, I am secure. I am safe. Now, unfortunately, we have many who are just selling off whatever they get. And, you know, you get family property, and instead of passing it on, just sell it to the next person instead of keeping it in the family. This is a trend that's been happening for the last like 20, 25 years, because people are looking for that immediate cash. And it's very selfish. It's very short-sighted. It's not forward thinking. It's talking about the immediate, the now. Yes, now is important, okay? However, how have you been regarding life? Are you just focusing on you? Are you focusing on what's best for the entire family? Now, I know, you know, some of us have family problems. I understand, okay, but still, the idea is that you want to be able to leave behind a legacy. You know, there are people who are also very wealthy who may not have kids, but then they'll leave their money to a foundation or to an orphanage or some place that needs it, okay? So, yes. So that's basically the very short message for today. What are you doing for your generational wealth? Let me make sure that's not my ride outside. I'm going to be all over the place today. I'm going to this funeral, family funeral, excuse me. And then I'm going to head to the curb. Okay. My Uber's coming. Then I'm going to a Dr. King program. And so I may come back to you all tonight. I'll definitely be back tomorrow. Okay. Because I have some thoughts regarding the Dr. King holiday and where we are with activism today. And again, thinking forward for the future, for the now and for the future. Okay. So Reverend Tamu says, yes, it's always breaks my heart when I see families sell their land and inheritance. Yes, it's extremely short-sighted. And I've seen regrets later from selling. That's right. It's painful. I thought I was going to be inheriting my grandparents' house. Okay. But there is a saying in the Khametic scriptures that talks about not saying, well, I have my parents' house. No, get your own, okay? But still, the idea is you still want to be able to have something to pass on. So, okay, I have to get going. Much love to you all. Have an excellent day. Heru Akir. And we say, Meria, which means much love. Heri, which means be at peace. Teni, which means to be accountable. And Jabewi, which means to extend mercy in the right circumstances. All right.